Hi everyone, and welcome back to Open Source Tonight. Folks, today I wanted to give you guys a little sneak preview of a thing I'm working on. I'm working on a new series called Linux in the Field. Now you might not have guessed by the name, but we're going to be talking about Linux in the field. You know, this is a field, I guess. It's not really a field, but close enough. I'm going to be discussing different areas where Linux is used, where you may not be aware of it. It's used in a lot of places. Areas including digital cinema, animation studios like Pixar and DreamWorks, just a bunch of different places. So that's coming up. It's going to be a little mini series. I'm going to do different episodes over different individual companies or sectors of different business. And so you're going to have a lot of different options to choose from as far as where you might not know that Linux is in the field. So you might know some of it, but not all of it maybe. So I think it'll be very interesting for everybody. It's an idea that I've had for a little while, kind of rattling around the back of my head. And so now I've decided to actually explore that. The first episode will be coming out hopefully in the next maybe month, maybe less than that. I don't know. It's going to take me a little while to get all the pieces put together. And I'm still in early pre-production on the program, but we'll get there. But that being said, this is more of a generalized update than just that. So yes, there's that announcement, but another thing to consider too is the open source audience has gotten so huge in the last year, really the last like 9-10 months. And so I just want to thank all the new viewers, subscribers, everybody that's decided to join the party, and I hope to see more of you in the future, right? You know, tell your friends, tell your family, anybody that you think might be interested in a mostly open source show, pretty heavily aimed at the Linux audience, really, and talking about Linux things and software for Linux, but it's not all Linux. I mean, you know, one thing I think would be interesting is to do a little more FreeBSD and the other BSDs like OpenBSD and stuff and NetBSD. I don't really know much about those. I played with them a little bit over the years. So this is foreign territory to me. So I don't necessarily know, what I can offer. But hopefully I'll be able to offer some interesting insights and everything as far as other open source OSs and such. Another thing that I think would be really interesting as well is I would love to bring the podcast back. I think I've said that before. I miss doing it. So maybe at some point when time permits, I'll bring it back. I don't think doing it weekly is probably going to be possible. My life is just too complicated to be able to say, yeah, every X day of the week, I will have an hour free guaranteed, or almost every week, right? It's just, life gets busy. So maybe like twice a month or once a month or something might be feasible in the future. And so that could be kind of interesting. I don't know, I debate about like if hosting it by myself would work. I don't really feel like I could do a podcast on my own, but maybe I could. It would depend. I think if I did do it on my own, I would probably want to have a very rigid program structure, if you will, where it's like, okay, we're going to talk about this and then that and then this third thing and then, thank you for listening or watching the video version or whatever, right? And so kind of make it concise, hopefully to a point that I can make it work. But I feel like the best podcasts are when you have a conversation with somebody. This mini doc series that I alluded to just a little bit ago for just a second, just to highlight that, I mean, it's really more of a documentary series as far as I'm concerned. It's something that it's not like a regular YouTube video. They're going to be probably longer form than most of these videos. And I would like them to just be really polished. But anyway, that being said, I think Linux in the Field is probably going to be the highlight of the year for the channel. We'll see where that goes. There is a couple of videos I've noticed that are really popular. And so if you guys want to tell me in the comments if these topics are really interesting to you, I guess it must be based on a viewership number, right? One thing that I noticed for the last several years, I've had a video on Qt versus GTK, the GUI toolkits. That's, for those that don't know and haven't seen the video, that is the way that a programmer on Linux, well, two ways, two different libraries, there's others as well, but they're the two most common ways these days on Linux, really, to draw a GUI, an application like a web browser or anything you can click into or whatever, have buttons and scroll bars and menus and all that. And anyway, I did my whole opinion piece on that a long time ago. Maybe I should do an updated one to that, because I mean, this video to this day still gets a decent amount of views. I literally looked, what was that, I think 2 or 3 days ago now, and it had like 100 views on it or something like that. And like 48 hours, another 48 hours. It literally, the video is like 3 or 4 years old now, and people are still watching it. So I don't know, I guess it must be an important topic, right? I mean, I like GUIs and all of that, and I do find that kind of stuff interesting. I actually find GUI toolkits like Motif to be interesting. It's a real pain to program with the little bit I've played with it, but you know, it's interesting. I like the look. And then kind of going into that, I have played with Python's GUI toolkit called Tkinter, and Tkinter is a abstraction effectively and a bunch of add-ons to TCL/TK, which is itself another GUI toolkit and actually another scripting language and everything under that as well. And you can control TK. I've used it for about 10 years now. You can get really in the weeds with it and control exactly the way it looks. I mean, you can get really granular. And so I'm thinking what I might do is I may actually go and start trying to build some GUIs with that. I've already been doing that a little bit, kind of playing around, because I kind of like the Motif GUI style, but I do not want to tolerate all that complexity. Anyway, I apologize. I know this is kind of a rambly, all over the place video. It's just a video where I'm kind of organizing what I'm thinking I might talk about on the channel in the future. I think we may talk a little bit more about programming again. Last year, I believe it was, I did a series of videos about Python programming and different things we could do. That series did really good. I think we should do another series, you know, probably still in Python. I really like Python. Maybe we do like a Tkinter or we do a Qt or something like that series or something. I think one thing that would be very interesting is to build like a full desktop GUI app on Linux from scratch, just a simple thing, but something that's actually functional, and just show how to build the package, how to do the desktop file, all this, which is stuff I've actually done most of it in other videos. But this would be a nice thing. And so finally, the last thing I'm going to leave you with is I have gotten a lot of really great comments on the channel, and sometimes I don't know how to answer your questions, and where life's been busy, I'm kind of slow to get back to your comments, but I do read all your comments. I do plan on getting back to everybody's comments. And so I do appreciate everybody that comments. I really like to hear from the viewers and see, oh, that was interesting. Oh, that was very useful. And one great example of that recently was the developers of FreeShow, which is a program I talked about, an open source tool, a while back on the channel. They actually commented on the video saying that they liked the video or something to that effect. I forget exactly what they said. They liked the video, it was a good video, something like that. So I wasn't expecting that, you know? So, but anyway, everybody, again, thank you everybody so much. Viewership is way up. Subscribers is way up. This is the best year the channel's ever had, and I hope that that best year continues. We round out 2024 and we go into 2025 and just keep on going. All right, everybody, if you have any thoughts or questions for me, please leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching Open Source Tonight, everybody, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Goodbye, everybody. And action.